So I need to check on Facebook, on my Facebook. It would take, yeah. So can you see up in the corner there live?
Yeah.
Okay.
9 seconds.
Yeah. Hi guys. Thank you for joining us on The Mystic and the Medium. Suzette and I came up with this idea about 2 years ago now. It's taken a little while, but the best things come to those that wait. To put on a show for you on interviewing different mediums, different inspirational speakers, and people that have just got something really good to say, really. So we came up with the idea of actually meeting them and coming together to do an interview. But obviously now with lockdown, we can't come together. So we've worked it out this way, which seems to be a bit easier, actually, logistic-wise at the moment. So my name's Kate May, those that don't know me. I do the mystic side of things, and Suzette does the mediumship side of things here, although we blend the two together, really. We've got our special guest, Micky, so I'm going to bring her on with the magic touch, bring her in. On what we're going to be talking about is near-death experiences. So please, can you bring your questions to us?
Yeah, so Micky's, she's a medium, lives down Bournemouth Way, so a lot of people might have seen Micky on the, what we might call the circuit out there. Lovely lady, and she's a medium. She's just released her book, which is called Dying to See You, which is about her near-death experience. She's an intuitive coach as well, and spiritual medium. So lots going on for Micky, and we were really pleased when she said yes, she would come live with us and answer any of your questions, and obviously our questions. So without further ado, as my techie friend there,
let's get her on.
Prime is going to.
And here she is.
Hello.
Hi.
Hopefully.
Welcome.
The power of technology.
It is good. So the way that this works, I've already lost Suzette there.
Oh, couldn't hear you.
No, I couldn't hear you, Suzette. I still can't hear what Suzette said.
First show. Really glad that you could make it with us. Technology isn't our forte, as you can probably see, and the internet straight night. So anyway, welcome on board.
Thank you.
With the press of the button, I can bring on the people from the other side. The people that are coming in to say hello, so their names pop up on the screen so we can do hellos to people.
Yeah. Hi, Lorna. Just sort of saying, you know, you've just released your book, Dying to You.
Yeah.
I grabbed a copy of Kindle and read through it, and we had a look at it. And a great book, really. As we see, it's keeping it simple, but a great story, a real heartfelt story. You know, and just sort of in this day and time when people are looking for things, you know, just want to ask you, how long were you before how long were you thinking about when you were in it, you know, in everything like that?
How long was I? Sorry, you broke up. Now, you just broke up on that little bit. How long was I? What?
So your book.
Yeah.
How in the planning stage? When did you think about writing it?
I think as I was going, probably about sort of 6 months after the actual incident or the actual heart attack, I started to think about getting it written down, because this internal battle had begun within me of the fight, really, because there was so much of me that wanted to be back the other side, and back within that unconditional love, back with my husband and my loved ones there. But at the same time, feeling incredibly guilty, because why would I not want to be back here with my kids and my parents? And it really is that sort of double-edged sword, because it's the two sides of the life here and the life there. And it was just this battle within me. And I thought then about, I need to write this down of my memories of my journey the other side, to help myself, really, to see if I could try and help this battle within. But as much as I thought about it, I didn't do anything about it. And then it was 18 months after the heart attack that I actually literally had a breakdown, because I was just holding on to everything internally and not talking on it, not speaking on it, not dealing with it. So it was then really that as my journey began sort of getting myself back together, that I started to write it down, and record my memory. And then it was then to go back over that journey to look at what were the lessons, because everything I experienced, there's a lesson. And it's no different really to here. Everything we experience in this life, there is a lesson to learn from it.
So, Micky, just for those that aren't 100% sure, your husband had already passed.
Yeah.
Were you already a medium before that or not?
Yes, I was already a medium, so I already had an understanding. And I think this is the difference, is that I had a belief in the afterlife, and obviously I had experience of communication from the afterlife, and there was a belief in the connection, that everything is connected, we're all connected, we're connected to absolutely everything, and that was a belief, that was an understanding. But my experience on the other side really allowed me to know. And it's a huge difference between believing something and knowing something.
Yeah.
It's just that it's such a subtlety, but it makes such a difference. And it's that knowing of that connection just changes everything.
So is it like what you read in the books, you know, you go through a white tunnel and then all the lights, and then is it like that, or what's it like? Or is it just different for everyone?
You see, I didn't experience the white tunnel or anything like that. I was literally lying in a hospital bed in A&E with them telling me that it wasn't my heart and it wasn't a problem, and that they were going to go off and try and get organise an emergency camera down my throat to see what was going on, because I was in so much pain. And as the doctor walked away, I literally turned to my daughter, who was 16 at the time, and stood by my bed. And I said to her, I think I'm going to pass out, because I started to get really lightheaded. And she walked around the bed to get me some water. And as she started to walk back, she said my body had gone into massive convulsions, and my eyes had rolled into the back of my head. My whole body was going through convulsions. I'd bitten through my tongue. And then everything just sort of flatlined, and they were pulling me off in one direction and pulling her off in another. But the difference being is that as I said to her, I think I'm going to pass out, I feel really lightheaded. For me, my experience was I turned in the bed, and the other side of the bed was my husband, who had passed 4 years before that. And he was standing by my bed, and I was just so excited to see him that I just jumped off the bed to throw myself into his arms and hug him. And like I could breathe him in and smell him and hold him, and his arms around me, and I was hugging him. And I was just so excited to see him. I didn't think about anything else. All the pain was gone. It was like instant. No pain, no worries, no fear. I was just elated, excited, and just consumed by this overwhelming unconditional love. And he was just like, hey, I've got some stuff to show you. And I was like, cool. And we were just gone. It was just like walking off, and instantly we were in a field. But there was no white tunnel. There was no a journey from here to there. It was almost like instantaneous, everything.
Wow. So had you realised that you were there, or was it like a dream state?
Do you know what? I can't ever say that at any point I sat there and went, oh no, I'm dead. It just didn't occur to me, because everything just felt so normal. But at the same time, it felt so familiar and normal and home. That's the best way I can describe it. It felt like home.
But
And that's why one of the things I struggled with when I came back was feeling so homesick.
how long were you there then? How long were you out for?
I have never looked into exactly how long I was dead, in effect. I don't think it's something I really want to look into, because I don't want to focus on what my physical body was going through. It was long enough that my daughter had literally been pulled into a waiting room. My parents had been called. They had time to literally drive down to the hospital and get to the hospital to be with my daughter before they even came out to let them know that they'd managed to get my heart started again, but that it was dodgy, because I was literally being rushed down for emergency surgery and there was no stopping to say hello to my family, nothing. So it was just...
Reading the part where you're going through everything that you went home to, which you relate to, and there's this, an incredible detail about how you explain feelings that you had, and I guess we know when we're here and somebody within A&E that flatlines, they have a few minutes to, and just to read what you put takes a lot longer than that. So it almost backs up the theory that people have about the universe and the spirit world, that the time is not linear. So for those few minutes that you had, were clinically gone, you were able to do so much in that, which would probably more than fill a day.
Absolutely. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I kind of got from that as well. And here's the exciting thing about that is to understand that where there is no time in the spirit world, and we aren't designated by that time or constrained by that time, is that you think about what happened in the minutes that I would have been dead and they had to, they kept resuscitating me, and everything that I experienced within that time. When somebody dies and they've gone, we miss them more than they can miss us, because for them it's the blink of the eye before we're back with them.
We've got a question.
And one of the we've got some.
We've got a question.
We've got some questions.
I prompted him earlier.
I'll stop.
I don't know. Can you?
Used to questions.
Oh, now you're asking me to look with these glasses, aren't you, to see that tiny little writing?
It's from Colin. Did you communicate with anyone from the spirit realms?
So my loved ones, absolutely. I mean, I met up with, obviously, my husband, who was there to meet me. I met up with all 4 of my grandparents and an auntie that had all passed before me.
Wow.
And each one of them took me on an individual journey to show me some of the things that they do the other side. So each one would take me somewhere different. So like my paternal grandfather took me to the halls of learning, and it was understanding that he spends time there. And then my nan, my paternal grandmother, showed me, and that was the hardest thing I think for me, was she showed me negativity here on earth and how they are aware of that. And when I say negativity, it's from what I experienced with her. It was that depression, that sadness, that anger, that jealousy, that all those kind of emotions that drag us down, that hold us down, that pull us down, that keep our soul from feeling alive and feeling dark and grey, and how they very much send out so much love to kind of try and lift that. But experiencing that for myself, to experience that pain, that hurt, that upset, was like 1,000 daggers going through your soul. And it upset me that my nan had chosen to do this and was part of this and having to endure this. and she was sort of saying to me, no, I choose to do this.
Yeah,
This is
one of
something
the
I choose to
yeah,
do.
yeah, I get that.
And it was like, wow. Then it changed my perspective then, because it was like, wow, that's huge respect. And then my maternal grandparents actually worked together. So my grandfather is very much part of the journey of a soul from there to birth and then returning back. And then as he brings the souls back that are passing with their family that have met them and brings them back, my grandmother then takes over and takes them to
Wow.
what I call a safe place. So how I ended up then in my grandparents' flat, because for me there's memories of my grandparents' flat of just being full of love. So it's a safe place.
Yeah.
And then, so that's what my grandmother was doing, was taking people that returned to their safe place, somewhere that they would feel warm and comfort and love, so that they wouldn't be, oh, what's this? What's going on?
Oh, lovely. Got a few more questions come up. One from Laura. Were you aware of layers of realms, or did it appear to be just one? I think you kind of said that in that little part there.
Yeah, I think I very much kind of stayed, if there are realms, I wasn't aware of them. I was just aware of this, the one I was in. I never I never really looked at it as, are these different realms, or it was just different, like here, really, that we leave our house and go to work,
Yeah.
you know? And yet nothing was a journey. It was always just come with me. And as I took their hand, we were there. There was no journeying there. We were there. It's like you think about being somewhere and you're there.
Wow.
I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
We've got Jeanette. How strange an experience for you, but looking back, are you glad you went through it?
I am, and I think I look back now and realise that even afterwards, even everything that I went through afterwards, and the breakdown, and learning to sort of like go within, learn about myself, pull myself together, all of that journey, I can look back now and say everything had to happen exactly how it happened, for the lessons I learned, for the things I learned from it, and who I've become now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it's very hard sometimes to put things into words, to describe them, or to even give it justice.
We've got.
Do you feel it's
on.
evolution into your life? So there's been an evolution that's happened after this, and that's maybe ongoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the thing. I don't think that we ever stop learning. And I think that we're constantly on a journey of progression, and we're constantly learning and evolving in the same way as the other side. When we're the other side, watching my grandparents, watching my husband, watching my auntie, they're still on their journey. It's a continuous journey. We don't just go the other side and sit on a cloud and I think, oh, how lovely. I mean, I have to sort of laugh these days when I look at that terminology, rest in peace. And I think, well, I don't think they.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, it's not a sort of like, oh, let's sit back and relax. Because they're still busy, they're still learning, they're still evolving.
So I've got a question, but let's get through a couple of the others. Otherwise, I'll take it. I think it's a personal chat between me and you. Colin, did they give you any insight, anything that would help you understand and help your time on Earth now?
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing, because I explain that in the book, going back over every single journey that I took. So the journey with my nan, the journey with my gran and granddad, the journey with my other grandfather, to go through those journeys, every single one of them, you can look back and see what the lessons were, what each of those journeys was teaching. And it's with hindsight. And I think that's the same in life. We go through things and it's terrible at the time, and we can go through really rough periods of time in life. But we can then years later look back on that time and realize what we've learned from that, what we've gained from that, how we've grown and evolved from that.
There was a really lovely quote in your book. Well, it was a saying. It's what your gran said to you when you went into that place that felt like 1,000 daggers. And and she said, you know, anything, just push back with love.
Yeah. So no matter what we're going through, no matter how hard things seem, no matter how dark things seem, no matter how sad things seem, if we push back with love, then we can grow from that. We can evolve from that. But if we disappear into the chasm of fear that it can bring, we can spiral, and then we just keep chasing our tail, really, and going round and round in circles, because that fear just constantly generates more fear and more fear and more fear. Whereas when we come back with love and step back into that light and that love, then we can start to lift. Then we can start seeing things for the lesson that they are, rather than the fear that they're in, chaos that they're creating.
And that insight is something, obviously, you know, is one of those messages, one of the strong messages that your book brings to
I can't wait to read it. I'm like, my next thing. I can't wait to read it. And then I'll be like, I know.
And along the way, as we all within our realms here, you know, the three of us work in the circuit, and then there's some people that have come on that would know this. And, you know, we have the skeptics that are out. And what would you, you know, for the skeptics out there that question, you know, what would you say to them? What could you bring from your gran that push back with love? What would you say to them that they say, oh, you know what, I don't believe in all that?
I think for me personally, if I'm honest, for me personally, I don't think there is anything to actually say to them. I think when somebody is very skeptical and closed-minded and not prepared to open up their mind to even contemplate, consider, they're not ready. They're not ready to open their minds. So all we can do, all of us on the circuit, is keep living our truth, keep being our authentic selves, keep, you know, allowing that connection with spirit and sharing that love from spirit and being the voice piece for spirit. And when they're ready, then they'll awaken and they'll come to it. But for as long as they refuse to or don't want to, I'm not here to convince them otherwise. They're on their journey, and I respect their journey, because we all have to come to things in our own time. We can't force or push or control anybody else's thoughts.
And it might not be their journey to follow this. We've all got different parts to play.
I think we have more questions, but I think
Julie says, and this is one of the ones I was going to ask. Did they know? No, this wasn't the one I was going to ask. That's another question. Hold on, come back to that one. Julie says, did they know you were just visiting?
Yeah, they did.
That's Julie. Hi, Julie.
Yeah, they knew I was just visiting. I didn't, and I think that's apparent because there's certain things that they said to me that would make me sort of stop and question and think, why are they saying that? What are they talking about? Like they'd refer to, like, come on, we need to get on with this because we don't have much time. And I'd think, what are you talking about? There is no time. Time doesn't exist here. Why are you talking like that? And sort of, it would confuse me. And then there was a time when I was stood with my auntie, and then it was like, okay, come on, you know, we need to, we don't have any time. And Ian said, come on, we've got to go. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then having to say goodbye to them all, and I was confused. And then I found myself back in the field with just Ian. And he said to me, you've got to go. You've got to go, Mick. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't want to go. I've just got you back. Don't make me go. And he said, no, you've got to go. He goes, the kids. And there was a feeling, as any parent would recognise, that if you think you've lost your kids in the supermarket or something, you know, and it's that, oh God, the kids. And he just shoved me, and the next thing I was back. So there are things that they were saying to me that, on hindsight, looking back, I can see they all knew I was only there to visit and was going back. But I wasn't aware of that at the time.
I've read a few different other people's experience, and some have said that they were given the choice: do you want to come or do you want to go back? But you weren't given the choice.
No.
It was here, have a shove back.
Yeah, it was just a real decent shove.
We're not going to get to know the ones that said no, we'll go with you, we'll stay. We only get to hear about the ones that said no, we'll come back. I bet there are probably people that said no, we'd rather stay with you. Julie again has put, and this is the one I was going to ask, did they appear as they were on the earth plane, so in their physical form, or was it just like an energy vibration that you knew, that you recognized?
Do you know what? No, they did. And my husband literally looked exactly like he did the day I first met him. When we first got together. And my grandparents all appeared younger. They looked amazing. But I knew who they were. Now, my paternal grandfather, I'd never met here because he'd passed way before I was born. But I knew him. I knew him the minute I met him. I knew he was one of the faces as a child that used to float around my room and stand over my bed. But I knew him, even though I'd not met him.
So did you feel that knowing on a soul level?
Yeah, and I don't think at the time I questioned it either.
My soul.
Yeah, I don't. No. And this is it. It's that seeing him and just knowing exactly who he is. There wasn't anything. I didn't think about it. I didn't sit there and think, oh, who are you sat next to my nan? Maybe you're my grandfather. It was just an instant knowing, like I'd known him all my life.
Like a baby knows their mum when it's born. That sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's because
and
the soul groups and the soul families, and that sort of the group of love that we come from. We recognise that when we see that. The same as here, isn't it? We meet people in this life that the minute we meet them, it's as if we've always known them.
Yeah.
You know that there's a connection there.
Yeah. Yeah. Pauline,
we've got a question. Yeah, Pauline.
Is it true that there is always someone that is with you when you pass?
Yeah, and I'm going to say yes from my experience. I mean, like I said, I literally said to my daughter, I'm going to pass out. I turned over in the bed and my husband was stood there. I mean, there's nothing more to make you feel safe and not fearful of anything than seeing that. But also witnessing what my grandmother and grandfather did, and watching my grandfather, because I questioned it. Because as my grandfather was coming back with a soul and all the different coloured lights of their energy, their aura, and that beautiful colours that there are no words to describe the colours. We don't have the vibrancy and the same type of colours here. And questioning that at the time and sort of saying, well, but I thought their loved ones brought them back. And my grandfather saying, look closer. Look closer. And as I looked closer, I could see that within that chasm of all the different colours and the beautiful colours that were spiralling around everywhere was the loved one coming back, surrounded by family. And then my grandfather leading them all through.
It's just amazing, fascinating.
Just on the back of that, there's Scott Milligan. Hi, Scott.
Hi,
after
Scott.
This experience, Mickey, has that taken away the fear of death for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't, when my time comes, and I think that's the important thing to remember, is that we all have our time. And I think when that time comes, I don't think there's going to be any fear at all, because I know what I'm going into.
I mean, it is a very comforting read. It's
Suzette
actually
like, can't hear it.
just the way
Loud.
the way you write it brings comfort.
Yeah, thank you. And for me, it's just telling my story in my words. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to self-publish. I didn't want any publisher telling me, oh, make that bit juicier, or elaborate on this and make that more exciting, or anything. This is my story, and you can't change your experience.
I think we have another question, Kate. Laura?
Yeah, Laura, when did you become aware of having returned to your body, and how did this make you feel?
I became aware of returning to my body when I had a doctor shouting in my face.
And all your pain came back, I expect.
Well, he was shouting my name in my face. I was by that point I was covered in burns from the paddles, and my chest was bruised chronically. But he was yelling in my face and shouting my name, and I remember uttering the words as I looked at him, rude, because I just thought, how rude.
A bit more than that.
I've just been having the best time, and you just jolting me back out.
Rude.
How rude. Oh dear. So
that kind of makes it real, though, isn't it? Because even that humour that you bring into it, then, you know, when you wake up and you look and think, how rude, what are you just doing? It's just it just carries on reality that you've had with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me. At the time, like I said, I only told close friends that I'd met my husband and I'd been on a journey. I never elaborated to anybody about what that journey was. I very much internalized it. And I think in many ways that's what did me no favors, because by holding on to it, it was too painful a thing to talk about, because I just wanted to be back there. But now that I've gone through the journey of healing and healing myself, and going back over that journey to decipher what were the lessons that needed to be learned through each individual experience and what I'd gone through, then now I can look back and I can talk about it and feel that love and that passion, and know that connection is always there, and that connection is constantly around us, every single one of us. It's our birthright.
Did you make the tea, Kate?
No, my battery was going to go. I was like, oh my God, we'll all
I was like that. When you were saying how rude, I thought, oh, there she goes. She's off to make the tea. But where?
I was just going to make it now. I was like, shit, the batteries are going to go. We're going to be lost for prayer. And like, oh. Yeah, that's keeping it real for you. I didn't.
We've got John there saying, Mickey, how do you feel now? Capital letters. So really now, talking about the experience, because I think he's looking at your energy. So I guess he's kind of tapping in there.
John's our regular.
John is our healer.
Yeah, so he's a lovely guy, and he's old school medium, old school healer, and he looks at people's chakras and says whether you're unbalanced, imbalanced, and all sorts. And he has the most amazing knowledge. So he's having a little look at you now. But he wants to know how do you feel now you're talking, whenever you talk about your experiences, how do you feel?
I think I've just kind of said that really it's that, you know, at the time going through the healing process was very, very hard for me. But now that I've gone through my healing, now that I've gone back over the journey and looked at the lessons that were there to learn from each part of it, now I can look back and feel that warmth and that love and that connection. And now I'm happy to talk about it, because I'm in a better place within myself. at the time, like I said, I very rarely spoke to anybody about it.
How long
They
ago?
knew I had. So it was back in 2004 that I had my heart attack. So 6 years now.
Wow. Julie said, is your connection with the spirit realm better now? Do they communicate with you more? Did you meet your guide? Oh, she's got 100 questions. Did you meet your
Oh
guide?
my goodness.
Did they ask you to write the book?
Oh, goodness.
It's getting them in last minute before we finish.
I know. No, I didn't meet my
Well
guys.
done, Julie.
I literally, on the other side, as I said, I met my husband, my grandparents, and my auntie. They're the ones I met. They're the ones that I spent time with.
Has your connection got stronger with the spirit world since? What do you think?
Do you know what? I will honestly say that I don't think it's a factor of our connection getting stronger. It's us getting out of our way. The connection that we have with everything that is and our spirit friends and loved ones are always there. But it's us that gets in the way. It's our own self-doubt. It's our own unworthiness. It's us feeling that we're not, questioning everything. It's us getting in our head all the time and second guessing everything or questioning everything. Whereas I think the knowing now means that I very much feel now that my connection comes much more from the soul, and I don't need to question anything because I know that my connection is what it is.
Any more questions from the outside?
I wasn't sure if you froze
From
then.
the outside.
Who, me?
Scott says, hi guys, thank you for asking the questions. Thank you for answering there.
Yeah.
Colin just asks, do you miss the feeling? What? Do you miss the feeling you had
while you were over there now?
While you were over there now?
There's no two ways about it. There are moments that I still get that tinge of homesickness because, like I said, it's just this all-consuming love and such this wonderful feeling where there is no pain, there are no restrictions, there are no, like, I don't know, getting up in the morning and your aches and pains and your little creaky bones and everything. There's none of that. So there are moments when I do still get my little bit of homesickness, but I think that's the same as there's still moments when I miss the physical presence of my husband or my loved ones, And I think we're all like that. We all have those moments and those sometimes days where the grief is all consuming because we miss the physical presence of those loved ones.
So now, I mean, we're coming up to, we've got 5 minutes before we finish, but in the here and now, what's driving your work? What have you got planned? What's out there that people can see you, access your services? We know you've got your book out there. Have you got workshops?
So I've got...
doing anything in regards of that?
Do you have a picture of the book there, Suzette, at all? Or Mickey, do you have a picture of the book at all?
It's on my Kindle. Mickey, I'll say.
I have one right here.
Dying to see you. Here's one I made earlier.
I know. So that's my husband. I don't know whether you can see it. I don't know whether you can see it very clearly, but my husband's right there in the middle.
Just at the bottom.
So I've got my website, mickyhavelock.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I put my quotes on. I am doing readings online. I am starting to look at now. Because I'm not very technical, you see. I was saying to somebody the other day, I'm a real technophobe. I can connect to the other side, but I'm not very good with connecting technology.
That makes the three of us tonight. Yeah.
Was it mickyhavelock.co.uk or .com for your website?
.com, mickyhavelock.com. So and so
and
I am going to start to put my
workshops.
I'm going to start to put some workshops and things out there. I have actually got a workshop coming on Saturday, which is through We Don't Die Radio. So if you look at We Don't Die on Facebook or on my Facebook, there will be a link. to a,
Okay,
to a
yeah, that would
it's
be
just a
good.
little mini workshop on Saturday night about connecting with your own soul.
That'd be great.
Oh, brilliant. And then you're just
Not like
rolling.
we're
You're
going
going to
out
be
on
doing some
Saturday night, is
more
it?
when we can get out.
Not like we're going out. So we'll be in with a night out.
Are you not going out? You've got no plans for the weekend? Not going out?
Stay in this weekend. Have a change.
No.
Yeah, I thought I'd stay in this weekend as well.
I think Friday's too much for me. Okay,
So, any more
into the end.
viewers with questions?
We've got a couple more minutes, guys, if you want anything. Oh, there's your daughter. Not your daughter, Mickey. I don't know
I
can't. But Suzette's there. Alex. Hello, Alex. Laura says, thank you for answering.
Oh, hi, Alex.
There, well,
You're welcome.
we're only going to bring honest people on these shows. We're only going to bring people that are real. We're only going to bring people that aren't afraid to say it as it is, like we do. Yeah, we're just going to keep it real. So honesty is what we're going to do through this show. So thank you, Laura.
Yeah, I mean, I think we recognise out there that there can be so much mysticism surrounds things that are just real. And it's to clear that so that, you know, everybody can have a view of what is going on, whether it's, you know, through working with spirit, you know, working in whatever realm, is just clearing away some of that fog to let people see that reality that's available for most people. Oh, there's our lovely Mark.
Yeah.
Mark Stone.
I think it's like we were saying earlier on, Suzette, when we were talking earlier, you know, at the end of the day, it's people can put things in such a way that we can kind of mystify it, or, you know, make it sound like it's so far beyond your reach. And actually it's a perfectly natural, normal sense, the same as breathing, you know, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling. It's our God-given right. It's our soul. Our soul is connected to everything that is.
I love it. I can't wait to read the book. And I'm sure lots of people. What I'll do, I'll put a link to. Is it on Amazon? Can you get it on Amazon, or is there a direct?
It is. It's on Amazon, and it's on Kindle on Amazon, and on you can purchase the physical book
I have
through
it on
Amazon.
Kindle.
And you can also purchase the book through. You can also purchase the book through my website.
Well, let's go to your website, because some people don't like to listen, do they? Because they don't pay their taxes properly or something like that. Go through your website, put it through that.
But we won't mention that on here.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Let's be honest.
Even though they do prime delivery, which is bloody handy, it's still annoying.
As we receive our first lawsuit.
Oh my goodness.
You want to wait until next time? You want to see what we'll get up to with that?
Oh, there's Helena. Hi, Helena.
Helen, even. Oh, Helen. Yeah, we've got
Helen. No, there was Helen.
There was. Yeah, that was me. Sorry. Yeah, Helena. Hello to you. Keep well. Thank you. And then Ellen. Yes, you can. Not sure what we can, but yes, you can.
Yes, you
Get
can.
It on
you
Prime,
can do anything
that's
you
what
want.
she's saying.
Carol, thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing Micky again and picking up with her workshop. Have learned such a lot from her. Have read the book. It's great. You had some. Ellen brought it. Well done, Ellen. You love your books. Yeah, I did put an extract on there, and the reviews are really good from it. So I'm sure lots of people that have been joining us tonight will go and download your book. I'm sure they will. Yeah, so you'll have it.
It is definitely worth getting. I got it, and I really enjoyed reading it.
Oh, thank you.
Ever so
So
much.
there's our stamp of approval for what
And it's lovely
worth.
because Carol is so Carol that's mentioned there is attends some of my groups and what have you, and workshops, and we've sat in workshops together, and she's amazing, and it's missing everybody, isn't it? It's missing that physical presence of everybody, and being able to sort of sit in the room together and just experience that connection all together.
There's a
to
new
feel
thing,
that.
isn't there? There's a new
Yeah.
thing called fear of going out, FOGO. That's the next thing that everyone's going to be suffering from, FOGO.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I won't get that.
No,
I'm not going to suffer with that.
Oh
I am
dear.
not mixing with anyone. I'm, I've got to be honest. I quite like being in my little bubble. I think I might be a Fergo person or Fogo, whatever it's called. Yeah. At the minute, I don't miss my shop.
Fair girl.
Fergo, furlough, whatever it is, whatever it is, at the F word. I'll be that as well. But I'm liking it. I'm enjoying the chilling. I'm enjoying the not having to rush around and see that person and see that person. It's at the moment I'm not ready to go back to normal work. I'm quite happy in my own little bubble.
No.
I think it's looking at every
Jeanette.
It's looking at every situation, isn't it, and saying what's in my control and what isn't.
Yeah,
and you know, this is not in our control right now. So it's making the most of what is in our control, and it's giving people more opportunity actually to explore themselves, to understand who they are.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've done loads. I'm writing my own book, so I've managed to get absolutely loads done of that. I've created my own tarot card, so I've managed to do, in fact, 2 decks. One. So there's absolutely shitloads that I've got done already, and there's still things to do. I haven't been able to.
You mean that there was a lot you got done?
There was a lot you got done.
Did you got a lot done, Kate?
Was it?
Yeah.
Was that a blooper?
Was there rest loads?
Can you beep that out, Kate? Can you?
Time for tea. Time for tea.
I've got lots done, and I've still got lots to do, so I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I think my daughter's popped up again, and
it's taken us 2 years.
Fogo.
2 years to get this going. We've been talking about it for 2 years, so we needed this downtime to get it sorted.
Yeah, kind of forces your hand, doesn't it? I mean, I've managed to clear the whole of my house and gone right through my house. Oh, I've lost my headpiece. I've gone right through the house and cleared out all the rubbish that we get collected and all the cupboards and.
So yeah,
right, well, we're going to.
It's been
a night. I can see the timer things on there. And I don't want to get logged off without saying goodbye. So thank you very much, Micky.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you, everybody, for joining and for all your questions. And please do follow Micky on her Facebook page and all her social media platforms.
Instagram,
all of them. We'll put the link up. And obviously us as well, Mystic and the Medium. If you can please follow us.
Yeah, don't forget to follow us.
On and on Instagram as well, and on Pinterest. We're on Pinterest as well. We've got the lovely Billy Cook next time. That's in 2 weeks.
Next week,
Loose Mystics. So in 2 weeks' time, we've got the international spiritual medium Billy Cook, which we know will be a fabulous show as well. So if you've got any questions to ask him, you can filter them through. If you want to ask Micky any more once we close the show, then if you send them to us, we can pass them on, or you can contact her direct. But thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Micky. Been lovely.
Thank
you. We'll see you again. We'll meet again, said Vera Lynn.
She did. Thank you.